Destiny's The Taken King.
The review.
The review on IGN. Man. Jose, you gave it a 9. Why don't you talk a little bit about why it deserved that score?
Oh, man. I mean, where to begin? So,
read the review, Destin.
Yeah.
What did you not? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. This is for those of us that don't
know, I'm
read.
joking.
Yeah. No, no, exactly. I mean, going through, first of all, it all started with the campaign. And just like how well I feel it tells a story. It has a clear villain. They go through the effort of having like cinematics and really developing characters. Guys like Kate Six, who have always been a part of the game, but who never really had anything meaningful to say or had anything that kind of stood out. Mm-hmm. It was always the disembodied voice approach. So from the get-go, from the campaign, from the very first mission on Phobos, I was very impressed by the direction. And then the more I played, I feel like the more I was discovering that, man, the systems that they have kind of put into this quest system is the way it should have been all along. Like if you think about the way you played Destiny in year one and how, bounties had quest-like sort of pieces to them, mm-hmm. but at the same time, I feel like the ability to carry more is ultimately what makes you not have to go back to the tower often. Yeah. And it did feel like you were constantly doing that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like even small things like that sort of took away, chipped away slightly at year one. But anyway, campaign blew me away. The progression felt right, and it felt like I wasn't being cheated. If anything, I felt like I had to make choices constantly because I was like, okay, I really like these legendary gloves, but this blue is so much better. I can infuse, and in fact, I would then learn, okay, like I can infuse in bursts and get this legendary mm-hmm. to move up with me, and so I don't have to get rid of it right away. But what ultimately sealed the deal was King's Fall. King's Fall
no
blew my no spoilers.
Yeah.
But what
it's fantastic.
The raid team did with scale, mm-hmm. with puzzles, with design, DPS, team mechanics, and in a way that everyone had an important role. It wasn't, I remember one time on the show we talked about how you didn't like, per se, the fight with Crota because you kind of have a lot of downtime while the guy with the sword is doing his job.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen here. There's always something
everybody
happening.
Is involved constantly.
Yeah, and that completely threw it over the edge for me, where it was like, this is an experience that I have never had before, even though I've played raids in this series before. Mm-hmm. Playing, Vault of Glass, playing Crota's End. Completely sealed the deal for me. And if you go in blind, or if you have friends who you can convince to go in blind, like, do it. That is the best way to experience the raid.
What I'm doing
the
this
first
weekend.
Time.
Yeah,
you are.
Yeah,
I am jealous of you, sir, because that.
I'm calling it Virgin's Fall. So putting that together.
So, Fran, I'm going to give you one little tip. After you
Don't spoil it for me.
After you open the big door, go to the tower and get a quest.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Because
so it sounds like a tip for everybody.
Yeah.
But
so
no spoilers, obviously.
That's pretty spoiler-free. There's a large door you open. That's all I'm going to tell you. And after you do that, I believe you can get a quest at the tower. And
it'll save you some time.
If you didn't have it already, right? Because I think I had the quest.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know if you can get it in advance.
Okay, well, let's...
Yeah.
Because
we don't want to
in my mind, I'm like, wait, this is some puzzle thing that's now a metagame puzzle, or who knows?
Or are we just trolling you the whole time?
I hope so.
That's the question.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, just with the fact that there are like now 6 levers to pull, so to speak, where sometimes you'd lose a lever while somebody else had something to do. Everybody's a cog in the machine all the time.
Yeah.
You need to work together and
was a
communicate.
little like that, right?
To a degree.
Yeah. But they've exceeded that, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
But actually, for those of us who've not played,
Atheon, it's like, are you holding the plate
and sort of just
clear?
If you had to give it sort of a comparison of like, it's like 3 times better than stuff like that in terms of the mechanics, not the raid, but you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
How would you sort of compare?
That's a great question.
None of the encounters are like Atheon at all.
They aren't, and I think that's what ultimately makes complexity-wise, some of them are far more complex.
That's
than
what I'm
Atheon.
looking for. Like,
I mean, there's a couple of encounters in there. I'm talking
maybe
about
the first encounter with a boss. Yeah, maybe that's Atheon level.
But even then, that thing still required a level of teamwork and execution that I don't think I saw. Like in Atheon, fine.
I'm just saying it's probably the closest example.
No, but I don't want it to be like Atheon. I'm just saying comparative. I've played that.
Much better.
So it sounds like everything in there is just so much more refined, right? And so that's cool.
You walk into some rooms and the level of awe you will have over what they did or what they made.
Or just how it's presented.
Like, it's breathtaking. Like it really is. It's one of the few times in video games, I've been playing video games a long time, that I sat there and went, like, where do you go from here? Like, I don't know how do you can possibly top this, including the final encounter itself, where I did not think it would at all have been how that turned out.
It's
that first
really
impression,
good.
I
have such high hopes.
Let's drag it back a little, right? Let's go back into the main game. I mean, I feel like so many things were addressed, from how stingy loot used to be to opportunities to get loot. Like, I feel like there were so many different places in year one where you got slapped in the face by, you did this thing, but RNG didn't work out in your favor. And here I feel like I'm constantly getting engrams to decrypt and to go back and to discover something, and purples pop more often, or I'm getting something with a high number that is ultimately going to affect me and help my progression and not make me feel like I'm wasting my time, because there were times in year one where that could happen. And I'm not trying to say all of year one was that way, but so many things got addressed on so many levels. Destiny from the start was always a mechanically sound game, but that was lacking its presentation, and whose end game leveling system was the most bizarre thing you had seen.
Get this specific piece of gear from one place.
And even worse, you need materials to level that gear, and you had to grind for those. All of that is taken away.
In
a way that I feel like benefits the game greatly. It's a much better game to play now than it's ever been. So that all spelled to me, I had no regrets on the 9. I still wake up and play that game until 2 a.m. And I'm just like, I got to go to work tomorrow. But man, I got so much done.
Like, my most enjoyable part of the week is going in and doing that raid again with Destiny.
I mean, truthfully, this might be my game of the year. And I'm someone who was blown away by Metal Gear Solid 5. I am absolutely in love with Super Mario Maker. I'm totally looking forward to Fallout 4. Witcher 3 didn't grab me, but that's
Fallout
not
4
for this podcast. But
dethrone Destiny for me.
The Taken King so far is my game of the year. Like, it is even Bloodborne didn't grab me in the way that the Taken King has basically grabbed me.
I had 2 minor complaints, or not complaints, just like sort of strange things. The blues and greens and purples. It's a little strange that you get purples at 280 and blues at 301, like up to 301. And that was a little confusing as I was grinding.
Wasn't intuitive.
I'm at 304 now. That's a little confusing. Like, I still have blues that are better than my purples, and I'm not going to infuse it because, like, this has the perfect rate of fire. It's like a year 1 weapon that I use in PvP.
Infusion is a bit of a head scratcher at first, too. And you're just kind of like, wait, why does this happen?
How does it work? And it's not really made clear to the user
why they should be doing the text that shows up the first time you infuse is, and you need to do this, and this, and it has to be the same slot. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. But
by the way,
figured it out.
You can, like, say you run a Titan, then you want to level a Warlock, you can infuse Titan items into a Warlock item.
And that's a great part of infusions. So if you do get screwed by loot, you get something.
Is confusion.
Oh God.
Sorry.
Okay.
Another confusing thing is there's this new gunsmith system, and you use the gunsmith now. You can get these bounties. They take up a spot in your inventory, which is weird. They should be in the mission bounties.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, so I don't like that. And secondarily, the weapons you get from him are 280.
No, really?
I do all that work for a 280?
Well, wait. Hold it right there, Buster. Last night, I'm pretty sure I'm not making this up, even though I am slightly delirious from how much lack of sleep I'm having. But I have a 290 plus pulse rifle, Hake,
from the gunsmith?
that I got from the gunsmith. So the
get,
jury's still out, I think.
Well, hold on. You get package rewards from the gunsmith at a higher light level. I'm talking about the weapons you had to earn, and then you get to
but I don't find that
those
so
drop
bad.
At 280.
Yeah, well, okay, so it'll drop at 280, but use a...
This is where it's the whole blue confusion thing, where you're like, I have some stuff
well, it's
like
I'm 303. All my weapons are 300 and up. Why are you giving me a 280? Like, what am I even going to do with that?
But if you like that weapon, let me ask you this: wouldn't you?
I don't even know if I like it.
Well, okay,
You know?
but let's
Why would I
take the number
try it
out of the
out?
equation. I agree the number is disappointing.
I'm gonna
right?
let you finish, but
But I would say that use the weapon, and if you see the perks are something that you like, the roll is a good stat roll. You're telling me you wouldn't infuse that gun to keep it?
It has to be like really good. Like
Really?
I don't have a sniper rifle or anything
Destin
that I'm in love with
300
yet.
or nothing Ligiri? Is that what I call you?
Light
now?
is so important in this game, and I have a great gear set right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
Why am I going to trade it off for something that's okay that I have to relevel?
so,
You know,
yeah. So you're
that's my
bringing
whole
up.
issue.
That's a good point. No, I completely hear you. And I do think
yeah.
infusion is confusing. Like, I think it needs to be a little simpler.
Yeah.
Fran is so happy with
That's
himself
so
right now.
What do you got,
Just
Fran?
came up with it. I was joking about confusion still, but
Yeah.
yeah, like for me, clearly, right. This is really interesting to hear you say this about the raid and how awesome it is because, like, I haven't got to talk to you about the review yet, and I'm still playing it, and I'm definitely the type of person I'm like, give me my space to figure this out. Still, I don't want to like throw a score out there for what it is for me. But I was like, wow, that's high. Now I see sort of how that's what's turning you. But you're also, sort of telling people, like, if you're not playing the raid, I don't know, like maybe you shouldn't be playing Taken King if you can't get those 6 people together. I mean, I know that's a generalization,
No,
but
I think
it's such a huge
you're
part
right.
of it.
I mean, I think
You
if
have
you
to
are
do it.
playing Destiny and you haven't found 5 other friends to play the raid with, I think that's a priority right now for you. Like, no offense.
And I
If
thought
that's
that
not your type of game too, maybe Destiny is not the game for you. Like if you like playing
absolutely.
alone,
Yeah.
I like playing games alone. Destiny kind of like got me to branch out a little bit and play a little bit more with other players. So yeah, but it's not something I'm used to. I would have preferred a singular experience.
Yeah, but that exact reason is why, and I've been a strong hater on the idea of raid matchmaking on this show. I've said it multiple times because I feel that a frustrating raid experience makes you not want to play the raid.
Yeah.
But I will say that not having a solution to that or an option to the matchmaking was brought up as a negative because how is the best part of your game something that you have this requirement for and you don't have a way around that requirement?
Yeah.
Like I hope someday they can figure that part out because again, if you're listening to this show, you probably play the raid, but if you talk to people about Destiny, that's the ultimate selling point of this game and of this series.
I would have loved to play the raid, but I don't
is.
have the time to get 5 people together. Yeah,
I was thinking about the early percentages they released like earlier this year about how many people got into the raid out of everybody obviously who touched the game, but it was a pretty low number. I think of active players it was probably a little higher, but anyway, so can't wait to check that out. It sounds like it will sway my opinion a lot. I definitely like the improvements to like the story and the way the Vanguards work together, and Cade's awesome.
Yeah.
It feels so much better. Like it really feels, and like Eris is part of the mix, and there's like where Cade is literally like whatever Eris, like weird. Like it's totally like really cool, fun writing. They did a good job with that stuff. So I really like all that. I will say though that as I'm playing, it's still the grind is back. It's still very Destiny, and what I mean by that is, man, it is like a language that is so hard to understand to play this game. It is not that accessible. So for those of us who've been playing a lot, I feel like, okay, they fixed this, they changed this, I get this, awesome. For those people, I think it's very like a much more awesome experience. I kind of wonder someone who just steps in, like
we actually have an article going up on IGN. Zach, who started playing, so he
played
played
first time ever.
He played the campaign and he hopped in and he was kind of lost.
Yeah, but
and it's
for
been
the
his
first time
journey.
ever.
No, not ever.
That's what I mean. I want to see someone who's never played
actually
Destiny.
Played for the first time ever.
And what is it like for them? That doesn't necessarily take away from this. I just mean it is such a it's easy to get lost in this game.
Well, and it doesn't help for veterans, and I've made this joke with friends, but I've never brought it up on the show, that like Destiny is a universe where they cannot seem to settle on currency. Like we've had Crucible marks, we've had Vanguard marks, we've got Legendary marks. Next week it's going to be exotic marks. Like I'm so tired of them shuffling the economy so much. Like let's hope that Legendary marks are here to stay. Because right now it seems like there are enough good places to get it, and I'm not frustrated by it. I just have to make sure I'm putting in the time to get that stuff.
Yeah,
guys, we're over on time. Any final remarks you want to make? Are we good?
No, I mean, just be clear. I'm totally excited that it's back. It's definitely better than the previous releases. Absolute on that. I absolutely see why Jose gave it a 9. I can't wait to check out the raid, and I think we need to give people a couple weeks, several weeks before we can all come back and really talk about the raid without spoiling it for everybody that's listening. But I can't wait to get in there and talk about it.
Cool.
Yeah. Now, final thoughts from me are just, you've seen the review on IGN. I did make a comment about hunters being a slightly selfish class, and for context,
hunters
I feel
are
that
so important.
When hunters weren't killing things, I mean, like things like Courage of the Pack really help hunters help out the team as a whole, like having a recovery and an armor buff, things like that. They got that, I feel, for the first time with Night Stalkers.
Dude, the tether is so important.
The tether's so good, too.
Yeah.
But no, my last thought is just, hey, play the raid. Like, that is your goal right now, is play that raid and get to experience it. Because I honestly feel like the raid team at Bungie is possibly one of the smartest teams in shooters right now.
You hear that,
and
Luke?
That raid is yeah, I feel like that raid is part of it. Those guys deserve all the props they can get. And this raid too, I didn't hear like a ton of bugs like I did with, you know, Vault of Glass or with Crota's End. Like, think about it. Were you seeing that kind of activity on Reddit? Like, it feels like they needed some time, but they got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you for your final thoughts there, Jose. Fran, you want to do the plugs?
Oh, man, we haven't talked about all the plugs of things in forever. Yeah, I mean, make
T-shirts.
sure.
I've been keeping up.
Yeah, that's just right. I haven't been here, so that's why. But yeah, check out the IGN store. We got Fireteam Chat T-shirts on there. Please drop us a review if you're listening to us or watching us.
Leave us a review. Tell us how much you like Fran's shirt on iTunes.
What is up with? I'm wearing like a blue, green, teal shirt.
He'll never wear it again now. Now that we've said something about it.
It's the fall lineup.
Yeah, but as always, you can also catch us on Xbox One and PS4 and IGN and YouTube. So we're wherever you want us to be, basically. So
yeah, thanks.
All right.
All right, well, that's it for this episode. Until next time, Guardians out. Come on, Jose. Come on.
We'll get him one day.